And that 4-0 defeat to Palace seems to have convinced United fans that they need a change in the dugout at Old Trafford.
You're talking about the worst team performance and the players. What responsibility do you have?
Yeah, that is my responsibility to. So I have to take this responsibility that the team was not playing like I expect them to play.
Do you worry about your future?
I don't think about this. I know I have to prepare the team as good as possible. I can't think about this. We have huge problems. Everyone can see this. So if I worry about my future, it's not about me. It's about the team and it's about the club. And you see, the fans are backing us. So they deserve a team who is eager and who has the right team spirit.
Eric Ten Hag, well, Ali, we know he's under pressure. People are talking about maybe changing him now, but you would never do that with a cup final and 3 games to come, would you?
Well, no. Spurs did it with Mourinho, remember?
Yeah.
They did it with Mourinho before the League Cup final, which I couldn't see the logic in doing that. I just feel, I think change will be made. But it's like anything else, Jeff. I mean, saying, okay, who are they going to bring in? Who do they have right now that they could bring in? Do they go and try and get somebody like Tuchel? Or, is there any outstanding candidates out there right now that we are missing? It's all very basic. It's all very well saying get rid of the players and get rid of the manager, but they clearly have to be replaced with better. And that's a decision that the board and owners at Manchester United will have to make, mate. But I don't think it will happen anytime soon, not with the FA Cup coming up.
Jeremy, the Manchester United fan, is standing up for his club. It's a long text. First part of it, I'm sorry, but there's not a single team could cope with this many injuries. Quite frankly, if Crystal Palace can't beat a team with 9 players out, 5 central defenders and 7 defenders in total missing, they are beyond pathetic. They should have won. They played the 5th and 6th choice central defenders and 3rd choice left back. They've had over 60 injuries and played about 30 combinations in defence. Well, they've played 14, I think, central defensive combinations this season. But I'd ask the question, Jeremy, how have they let it get to this stage? Whose responsibility is that? Let's go to one of the calls now then. 03717 223344. Give us a call if you want to have your say. Paul has done just that. Morning, Paul.
Very good morning, Paul.
How are we doing? Yes, thank you.
So, Paul, what's your view on what's happening at Manchester United? What do you want to see happen?
Well, I think enough's enough now. I think the players, I wouldn't say they're down tools, but they're not performing. My suggestion, quite controversial, let's bring Ollie back for the rest of the season.
Do you think Ollie would do that?
I think Ollie's the type of guy that if he got the call, he would have no choice but to go. He's a loyal fan. He was a great manager, in my opinion, and got let down by the high management. Couldn't get the players he wanted. Finished 2nd and 3rd in the league. Let's get him back for the rest of the season.
What about, Paul? Okay, I'm just saying you've come in with an idea there, a short-term answer. What about long-term?
Long-term, who is there out there? That is the problem. You know, who is there out there? You know, there isn't any big names looking for jobs. We're not in a great situation with managers who are going to be available. That is a big question. It really is. But I think Eric's had his time now, and I think the players have wouldn't say down tools, but they're not playing for him.
Okay, thanks very much indeed for your call,
Thanks,
Paul. Appreciate that. He wants Ole Gunnar Solskjaer back for the final 4 games of the season. Joining us now to look back on a terrible night for Manchester United, the Sun's Manchester United writer Neil Custis. Morning, Neil.
Hi, Jeff. Morning, hi, Ali. Right.
Hi, Neil. Look, Neil, is that a performance which ends the debate effectively over whether Ten Hag should be in charge next season?
Well, I mean, there's been a few of those that could have ended the debate. I think last night was particularly pathetic. But as some of your callers have mentioned, the injuries have been horrendous and they have made a difference. You know, Lisandro Martinez, had he played and had Luke Shaw been available all season, this wouldn't be happening. But I do think they've totally down tools on the manager. I mean, I wonder if they were all in a European Cup final tomorrow, how many of them would all be injured? You know, it's just so easy to have I remember speaking to Mickey Gray, your correspondent up here, and I said to him, did you used to have this many injuries in your time? You know, because it seems to happen in a lot of clubs. And he said, we just used to play on. If we had a slight knock, a slight niggle, we'd just get on with it. And I wonder how many of them just don't get on with it. I'm not labelling someone like Harry Maguire in this or Bruno Fernandes, who play through pain barriers and make themselves available. But there's some who I just think it's just too easy when the chips are down to say, you know what? And I can tell you now, I'm sorry, I'm starting to sound like Kevin Keegan there, but I bet you that by the weekend, there'll be at least another 2 or 3 who won't be available for an Arsenal match because they'll be running scared away from that one, because that could be double figures.
Neil, tell me, I mean, Jeff and I have been discussing it this morning, obviously, United situation. Clearly there needs an overhaul in the playing squad. If you're talking about players not playing for the manager, I think it's a greater indictment against the players than it is the manager, actually, to tell you the gospel truth. However, we're talking about new, perhaps getting a freshness about the squad. How do Manchester United go about that, Neil?
Look, they're in a bigger mess now than they have been for since the Sir Alex time, because they literally cannot spend their way out of this with like a 500 million, 600 million splurge because of these ridiculous rules that we now have that restrict clubs from spending what they want. So they cannot just literally buy their way out of this. And, we see every week, in papers, in my paper, lists of, these are the players who they're going to get rid of. Who's going to take them? They're on enormous salaries. CASEMIRO has 2 years left. Who is going to take him on 300,000 a year? Who is going to take Marcus Rashford, who is effectively down tools, on 350,000 a year? Who's going to take him? And if Jadon Sancho, right, 73 million they paid on him, they need to make a profit on him for it to be any good. No one's going to take him. Jadon Sancho is just an example of some of the young modern day footballers nowadays, absolute brats who've just let their club down, sulked and gone off somewhere else. They say, "Oh, look, I'm doing it for Dortmund now."
Well, he's gone somewhere to play. He's gone somewhere to play in the Champions League, Neil, which Manchester United can't offer him. And maybe there are two sides to this story that Eric Ten Hag has got something to answer for as well. But let me put it to you this way: everybody's pointing the finger at Eric Ten Hag. Shouldn't people be pointing the finger at the appalling recruitment by Manchester United? Who bought Antony? Who bought Casemiro? Who bought Mount? Who bought Onana? Last night, Adam Wharton was one of the best players on the pitch, and he cost Crystal Palace £21 million.
Well, all those players that you just mentioned are in the list, and I'll just say at Sancho that it's a much greater demand to play for Manchester United at this time in their history than it is to play.
What you mean? Sorry, it's a bigger demand to play at Crystal Palace than it is to play for Dortmund this evening in the semi-finals of the Champions League at PSG. That's deluded, Neil.
No, I said it's a bigger demand to play for Manchester United than it is to play at Borussia Dortmund, where I don't think the demands are quite as high. The demands at Manchester United are huge. And to bring yourself up to the level to make Manchester United better, Paul Pogba couldn't do it. He was brought in to lead the Manchester United back. He couldn't do it. He was a World Cup winner. The pressure on at Manchester United is huge. That's what I'm saying. Completely different to going to a Borussia Dortmund side who are already playing well, on whom the expectations are not as great. That is a completely different. Sancho just couldn't do it at Man United. So there's only one side to the story, really. But as far as the recruitment goes, all those players you mentioned are all very good players. Manchester United is a monster that's just eating people up, eating careers up and spitting them out. And you need a very, very strong character to be able to cope with what's going on at Man United at the minute and play well. Strong characters like, for example, Bruno Fernandes, who will play through pain barriers, will keep going, will keep trying hard. You need strong characters, and they haven't got enough strong characters. Sir Alex Ferguson always used to look not just at the ability of a player, but the character of a player. And there's not enough characters there who are willing to fight for Manchester United.
Neil, we could go on with this all morning. Look, thanks for joining us, mate. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Neil. All the best.
Goodness me, it is a debate that's going to go on and on and on. Let's just lighten the mood again, though, Coisty, for a minute. Bardi from Eastbourne says, in Hastings, there's a cement company called William the Concreter, which, and Nick the West Bromwich Albion fan says, in Birmingham, there's a plumbing business called Leaky Blinders, which is all wonderful. I hope they managed to bring a smile to some Manchester United fans' faces this morning as well, because there's nothing else to, that's for sure.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.